Now, having seen how Taiwan is disposed and the way it is going to fight a war, it's very important to understand why Taiwan is able to stand up to China, such a huge, humongous army. And the only reason it can stand is presence of US behind it back. It, Americans are game changers in this complete situation, and they are calling the shots. Now, how Americans are controlling the Indo-Pacific, how it is playing this strategic game. It's been playing not from now, it's been playing for centuries. This is quite old game it is trying to play. And Taiwan today is a very convenient place to balance China. And it is using South Korea and Japan as the fulcrum with which it is able to control the situation around Taiwan. So, whatever is the strategic situation, what is the political compulsion of not trying, of having now recognizing one China policy, but Americans are playing their game well. And to play this game well, they need to have requisite amount of forces at their disposal, requisite amount of command and control system, logistic support, bases spread all over the Pacific, of which certain amount of forces will have to be disposed in the forward areas, just close to area where the action is likely to take place. And how it is all being organized is we will see today. So first of all, let us look at the US security architecture in this area. Firstly, UK, Australia, and US have got a trilateral security partnership, AUKUS, which we are all aware of, which has been formed recently. They have mutual defense treaty allies with Philippines, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, Japan, Thailand in this area. India, Japan, Australia, and US are part of Quad, though not a security group yet, but may coordinate operations in case it is felt so, and it may result into these people coming together in time of conflict. Though as of now, India doesn't seem to be going along. It is taking time. Of course, for structuring, it is easy to make a group then, but to operate militarily together needs a lot of coordination, need a lot of tying of small little details. Then you have to have equipment which can interoperability should be there. You should be able to understand each other's philosophy of operations, how people are. The coordination is very critical thing in military operations, and we have seen in Ukraine how lack of coordination in certain cases can result in lots of lives. As also a good coordinated battle given by few people can result into tremendous amount of achievements. So once you form the squad, it needs to mature for a little time to make sure that the defense forces, especially navies of all these countries, first they should be able to coordinate their operations together, which are unlikely at the moment because it's not a security group yet. But slowly it may form one. Now, Australia and New Zealand, they signed a treaty in 1951 with the US. Now, Canada and UK are part of NATO, and special defense arrangements are there. Why I am trying to bring in UK here is because wherever US is going to operate, UK will be a strong supporter and will waste no time in coming to its aid. So UK in any conflict which US participates will be there. Similarly, Canada is a very important player in the Pacific region. They have coordination with Americans, and in case Americans are attacked, then of course whole NATO and all these countries which are supposed to be coming to aid of each other in case of conflict. So there is a humongous amount of forces which may get involved. But now let us restrict ourselves to forces of Taiwan, which we've already talked of, and forces of US in the first instance. The rest of the countries, their involvement in this case, because of Taiwan not recognized as a separate country, may bounce back in some fashion or the other. However, uh, China is restraining itself. It is not trying to capture areas of or islands of Taiwan, which it can capture immediately in case it wants to, because of the kind of environment which has been created over a period of time by Americans. Now, America dominates this area through its Indo-Pacific Command, and what it is, we will see. So basically, Indo-Pacific Command comprises of, from the naval side, Pacific Fleet, Army Pacific, Marine Corps Force Pacific, and Pacific Air Force. These are the components of Indo-Pacific Command and operated from the US soil. A great amount of elements of this command are spread all over Pacific in various locations, Hawaii, Guam, other areas, let's say Japan, South Korea, Philippines. So these elements of this command and control structure at the larger level, though being controlled in US, are spread all over Pacific Command, and so a large amount of forces are available at the beck and call of Americans to participate in a conflict in this area. Let's see. Now, first we will see Pacific Fleet, because why I want to talk about Navy first is because Navy is most critical. It looks like to be more critical in Pacific area. It is the one which has played a vital role in the previous conflicts in Pacific, and it is the one which is going to make a lot of difference, because most of the movement of American forces is likely to be ship bound, and there the large number of carriers are there with American Navy, which are going to participate in a conflict, and Navy is going to play a major part. Let's see how the Pacific Fleet operates. So first of all, let's see the disposition of forces. You have, Army disposed in the eastern coast of USA, in the western coast of USA, then in Hawaii area, then in South Korea, Japan. These are kind of div size forces which the squares which are being shown here are the div size forces which are available, division size. They are part of force structure. Army, when we cover army, we will see how they are structured. Then again, in Philippines there are bases. In Guam there is a base, American base. Philippines has got number of bases which are there. Earlier they used to be permanent base which had been given to Americans, but over a period of time, politically it was not acceptable to the people of Philippines. Now they have a kind of a framework in which the nuclear tipped weapons cannot go to these bases, but Americans are from the earlier bases, they are creating new bases there, from which American forces will keep moving around. As also the major center is in Hawaii area, and the forces are available in the eastern coast of US. Mostly in Southern California, and one in the north here, and a major center is operating mostly of Air Force in the Alaska region, which coordinates a great deal with Canada, especially as part of the NATO forces. They are always on alert. There is a large quantum of communication infrastructure which is in place there, apart from aircrafts and all. So there's a humongous amount of force which is being made available, and we'll see what this force is. When I say humongous amount, we will also see how Chinese forces and these forces are they comparing to each other. Will they be able to actually have a good, a good fight, I would say, or an equal fight? So there is a big question mark. We will discuss this. We will be discussing this at a later stage once we have already seen Chinese forces which are available to China. And now we are going to see, we've seen Taiwanese forces, we will see now American forces. So we are at this. So Pacific Fleet has got 7th Fleet, which is the one which is going to participate. 3rd Fleet is more homeward bound. 7th Fleet is the one which is operating in forward areas, that is to the west of Hawaii, and it is operating in forward areas in Japan, South Korea, and patrolling the western Pacific region, that is towards Japan, China, and southwards South China Sea and all. So it has got a Commander Naval Air Force Pacific, which is coordinating the effort of Naval Air Force for the Pacific region, and Commander Naval Surface Force Pacific, again, coordinating the surface forces which is with Navy. So this is a command element, basically 2 fleets, and out of that, 7th Fleet is the one which is earmarked to operate in this area. Now, 7th Fleet is the largest of the US Navy's forward deployed fleets. It has got a continuous forward presence in the Indo-Pacific for the last 75 years. 50 to 70 ships and submarines, 150 aircrafts, and more than 27,000 sailors and marines are always forward deployed. And 7th Fleet area of operations spans more than 124 million square kilometers, stretching from international date line to the India-Pakistan border, and from Kuril Islands in north to Antarctica in the south. So a humongous amount of area 7th Fleet is operating. But mostly the focus of 7th Fleet is South China Sea and Japan area, of course. Now, area responsibility encompasses 36 maritime countries and 50% of the world's population, including rivals in the area, which are China, Russia, and North Korea. Now, looking at 7th Fleet operations, so generally forward deployment includes a carrier group with a aircraft carrier group with guided missile destroyers and cruisers. It creates a carrier strike group of about 12 ships and 75 aircrafts. In crisis situation, another carrier group is similarly staged forward. It controls 10 to 14 destroyers and cruisers at any given time, with 1/3 based in Japan and rest periodically assigned to the region from Hawaii or San Diego, which is in the mainland, Southern California. These surface ships carry theater ballistic missile interceptors, long-range Tomahawk land attack missiles, and anti-aircraft missiles. At any given time, 8 to 12 nucleus-powered submarines are operating in the area, 16 to 20 reconnaissance aircraft for intelligence, surveillance, recce, and anti-submarine warfare. 4 amphibious ships capable of carrying up to 2 battalion groups of Marines with supporting Haptors are based in Japan. Similarly, 4 mine countermeasure ships based in Japan to locate and neutralize mines, and 50 combat logistic ships are operating. So this is the kind of force which is operating of 7th Fleet, out of which I have told you certain force, about 1/3 is staged forward most of the time, and rest is rotated between Hawaii, San Diego, and the forward areas, that is Japan, South Korea, South China Sea, Philippines, Guam, this area. Now, looking at 3rd Fleet has got 5 aircraft carrier strike groups, each consisting of combination of cruisers, destroyers, and frigates. It has got about 30 submarines, 12 supply ships to support the strike groups, and it has got an Air Force 400 naval aircrafts, including F-18 Super Hornets, E-3C Hawkeye, Harrier II, Bell Super Cobras, and Seahawk helicopters. Third Fleet is more oriented towards homeland security. Seventh Fleet is more oriented towards offensive tasks and operating closer to these areas of conflict. Coming to Pacific Air Force, it comprises of three numbered air forces, 9 main bases and nearly 375 aircrafts. Fifth Air Force, which is in Japan, has got 3 wings responsible for operations in Japan. Its role is to defend Japan, respond to regional events and enhance the allies. 7th Air Force, again in South Korea, has got 3 wings of F-15 and 16s, contributes to maintaining the armistice between South and North Korea. 11th Air Force is in Hawaii, Alaska. It has got 3 wings. So Japan is, 3 wings it is written, sometimes it is 1 wing there, sometimes it's 2 wings. So the kind of force levels keep varying, but overall this is the structure. Now looking at the army component for US Pacific, Indo-Pacific Command is 8th United States Army, which has got 2nd Infantry Division and 19th Expeditionary Sustainment Command. More of logistics support system for the Infantry Division. Then there is 1 Corps, which has got 7th Infantry Division, famous, 25th Infantry Division, famous, Korean War and all these people have already fought there. 11th Airborne Division, United States Army Japan, which is stationed in Camp Zama, Japan. 593 Expeditionary Sustainment Command, which is US based. Then 94th Army Air and Missile Defense Command, 8th Theater Sustainment Command, 8th Military Police Brigade, 130 Engineer Brigade, 311th Signal Command, Theater for Pacific, 1st Signal Brigade and 516 Signal Brigade. So you'll see, large component of the force is also devoted to communication, engineering, making sure these forces are very well oiled for any operations and they are very well controlled. Similarly, AWACS based air control system is spread in Pacific area. In the northern side, it is coordinated with Canadians and rest of the area, being coordinated by Americans. And also some areas of there is a station in Greenland, there is a station in UK, which is providing the support for Air Force communication, Air Force interception, intercontinental missiles, defense, humongous amount of system which is there. Then lastly, there is a Marine Corps Force Pacific, which has got 1 Marine Expeditionary Force, which has got a command element, 1 Marine Division, 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing, and 1st Marine Logistics Group, which is part of 1 MEF. Then there is 3rd MEF with a command element, 3rd Marine Division, 1st Marine Aircraft Wing, which has 2 squadrons of F-35, 6 squadrons of Raptors of various types, 1 transport squadron, and 1 squadron of UAV. A similar kind of a structure is there in 1 MEF. Then 3rd Marine Logistics Group. Now, once we've seen the Marine, so let us see what is a division kind of comprising of. So, a Marine division may be one of the Marine division, let's say, 1st Marine Division is comprising of a Marine regiment, which is about, for the Indian Army people, less than a brigade, it's 2 battalion kind of a thing. 5th Marine Regiment, 7th Marine Regiment, 11th Marine Regiment. Then 1st Marine Expeditionary Brigade, 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit, 13th Marine Expeditionary Unit, 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit. It has got a recce battalion, which is heavier one. Then there are 2 light armed recce battalions.